Ken Adkins, coach of the Independence Patriots ladies softball team, and Ken, you out here running the camp this week. I think this is becoming an annual thing for you. Talk about the camp, how many girls you had in it, and your thoughts.
Well, I facilitate the camp. Coach Steve Warner from Wesleyan and some of his staff. We had the head coach here from Shepherd, the head coach from Glenville. Had some of their players here. A girl that just got a graduate assistant job, young lady that just got a graduate assistant job at Ole Miss. So great staff for this camp. We had 85 total campers, 46 in our 7 to 12 group and 39 in our 13 to 18 group. Really tickles me to have both. In order for us to be successful, these young kids have got to come to us with a lot better foundation, and so this goes a long way toward doing that. It allows our kids that are at high school age or coming of high school age, it allows them to get some really good coaching, lots of input from players that have done different things in college, players that have pitched in college, played in college, now coaching in college, and so we're really excited. Second time we've done this. We missed last year because of COVID. Great turnout this year, just a great turnout. Had campers from as far away as Tazewell and Richlands to the south, and had some kids from Summersville, and I think had some from in the western area from going north. So lots of good feedback from parents and players on what we had going on here the last 3 days.
Do you feel like there's going to be a softball explosion? I mean, even more so than we've seen recently with the
we talked about this when
Series.
I've talked to you about this before, but the Women's College World Series ratings-wise on TV was far exceeded what the Men's World Series does. And listen, and we talk about this all the time. I started out a baseball guy, but I'm a softball guy now. And it really seems like, I think, for lots of reasons, but there's a lot of emphasis now on softball. And I think people see that it's a quality game. It's more like what they remember from baseball, and I mean, we still bunt, we still steal bases, we hit and run. A good high school softball game, you can watch one in an hour. Some of the stuff that goes on, pitching rules have changed baseball and some of that stuff, and I think it drags the game out a little bit. So people are really excited about softball, especially here at Independence. Been to the state tournament now two years in a row. This is a hot, it's a good region. Some great players come out of southern West Virginia, and we're just glad to, like I said, be a part of that. And then this camp is something that we feel like it's a needed thing in our area, and surely helps our program.
Do you feel like girls are coming in more, and I know that's what this camp is for too, but you feel like they come in more ready to play? And I think in all sports, it seems like you can come in younger.
It seems
play.
like it goes in stages. You'll have some, and it really depends on what they get early on. The kids that we're seeing, I think we won't see the rewards for this for a couple, 2 or 3 years, but the kids that we see here, hopefully will come to us with a better understanding of the game, better fundamentals, and that allows us to not start at A, but start at J and work towards Z. It's hard when you have to, teach fundamentals and all those things. And lots of times, parents have a hard time coaching their kids because kids get to a certain point and they think, well, you know what I mean, you've taken me as far as you can, even if the parent knows a lot. So hearing it from someone else who they look up to, players that they've seen play, Brooke Clark was here from Shady Springs. She was an all-state player at Shady. Some of our players saw her play. Now they're seeing her in that, she's a starter and a successful player in the Mountain East Conference. And kids see that, and they try to emulate what she's done and that success. We have Kaylin, who was the AA captain on the All-State team, basically the player of the year in AA. And so that gives our kids something to shoot for. And I think that's a part of what you have to make them work hard.
What do you think your players got out of it the week? Is it more time?
Well,
is it also time they can spend with you and the coaching staff?
Well, and I really just watch. I don't get involved in the coaching during this clinic. I want them to get input from other people. I try to watch the drills they do, the terminology they use, see if there's things I can pick up.
Do you feel like you picked up some things?
I always pick up something. I mean, never. I don't ever spend a day with Steve Warner that I don't learn something. And they tend to translate that to our kids. And some of the things they talked about, just like at the end of the day today, it's not what you're doing when you're with your coach, it's what you're doing when you're not with your coach that makes you a great player. So that's probably some pretty sound advice there in any sport.
What's it like for a girl like Kaylin, who is moving on to the next level, to come here and talk to some college coaches, her coach,
Listen,
other coaches?
It's huge because this will be the first opportunity. I talk a lot about. I used the Steele kid from WVU who got recruited at USC when he was 10 years old. Well, listen, these kids may not get recruited when they're 10, but a college coach will ask me who that kid is, what their family's like, are they playing soft? I mean, so the first time they might see a kid that they recruit in the next 2 or 3 years might be here at this camp. So, and trust me, those coaches are here looking for that. I mean, they're looking for players that they can keep an eye on in the next 2 or 3 years.
Did you notice that? I mean, did you?
Oh yes. I mean, it happens every time. I mean, you wouldn't be a coach if you weren't out looking for. I mean,
do they pay attention to other players? Like, maybe not that they don't pay attention to everyone, but maybe take a little more interest in somebody they're interested in. Maybe.
Oh, well, I think they'll try to find out maybe what that kid's plans for the future are, or you know what I mean. What things they think about softball.
Do you get any questions this week?
Oh yeah, all kinds. And we have some, and that's one of the things we like about this. It gets our players some recognition. They get seen, now they've been seen by 4 or 5 college coaches this week. 3 days. There's no, you see them at a game, you get a snapshot. You see them here for 3 days, you see how they are around other players. You see how they are in the dugout. You see how they are when they stretch. Are they focused on the tee when they're doing drills? Are they coachable? If we heard that once, we heard it 100 times this week. Is a kid coachable? And that's some of the things I think they look for.
What do you think the ceiling is for softball as far as popularity?
I don't think there is a ceiling right now. I think I think the sky's the limit when it comes to high school softball right now. I think there's more. Some of it because of Title IX, but I think there's more emphasis put on it. Softball, because of the time of the year, doesn't have to share so much limelight with other sports. It's the only, other than maybe tennis or track, it's the only other girls sport going in the spring. So that's a big deal. And I think that'll continue to improve. This year was great. There were some really bad things about COVID, but there were some really great things too. Our kids got to be seen at the state tournament when there wasn't school, when everybody could come down there. And I think that's why our state tournament was probably bigger than it's ever been as far as attendance goes, because people got to see them. It was after the college season. I don't know how many college coaches I saw down there. So, and all those things are big for our kids.
What was the upside for the state tournament? I know you were disappointed in the outcome, but what was the upside?
Oh, listen, I thought it was a nicer experience. The logistical part of it, as far as getting hotels and feeding the kids, those things that people never think about, those were 100 times easier. We had a little blip on the rain. We had a little delay one day, but nothing like rearranging a whole schedule when we were at Vienna and trying to juggle fields and, play on a less, no one wants the field to be the deciding factor in a ball game. And that was never an issue this year. So that was a great deal.
How do you feel you're set up for the future now?
I hope I'm one of those programs now that people say they don't rebuild, they reload. I'm not sure that's always the case. You don't ever replace a Calum Parks. I'm not sure that you ever replace a Destiny Blankenship, because those are, Calum was a once-in-a-lifetime player. Destiny was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get a player who had not played before and then kind of realized her potential. We'll get to go down and see them tomorrow in the North-South game. They've both been chosen from down there. But, out here watching these kids, that's another thing this week did for me. It gives me an opportunity to see 9 or 10 freshmen that are coming in. Who's going to be? Who's the next Calum Parks? Who's the next Destiny Blankenship? So, that's the exciting part of it.
Is Destiny going to get to play in college, or?
She'll have the opportunity if she chooses. She wants to go into dental hygiene, and so the only place we offered here is West Liberty in the state that has softball. So I'm not, right now we're trying to work through the logistics of that. I got about 20 college coaches calling to see if she's available. But whether we can work all that out is another story.
So it's been all plus since the COVID was lifted a little bit.
Yeah, we had some issues with the COVID early on, quarantining players and, pushing the season back and rescheduling. But, once we got going, we adjusted well. Our kids and our parents adjusted well. So I felt like we handled it okay. Tough on my business at home. And it's tested my wife's patience. But it was a good season.
All right, Kenny, I appreciate it, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.